The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Hello.
As far back as I could remember.
It's all right. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. We just went from it being 93 degrees and sunny outside to a possible... Got no mic. Right. No mic? Hello? Can you hear? Okay, we're back. To a possible tornado coming through the station. So we may lose power here, but we're going to tough this one out. Let's introduce the crew on the ones and twos. It's Ryan. Ryan, how's it going over here?
Good evening. What a freaky day with this weather, Joe.
I know, it's
Went
like,
from one extreme to another.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. We saw the porta potty flying around out there, like the cow in the Wizard of Oz.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm great.
Good.
Mark, how are you?
Weather, Joe. That's so we can call it.
Yeah.
Until it isn't. Happy Monday. Everything's great, Joe. I'm excited for this episode. A lot of things are happening, and let's get it going. Let's get it cracking.
All right, so for the two of you and I guess our audience, I have to ask you guys, be honest, does it really feel like an election year yet with the lack of events and campaigning? You know, it's been slightly weird, right? Right? Is it just me?
Joe, if I could go first, I was just telling this to a friend of mine. It was within the last 2 hours. I said, here we are in mid-June, screaming toward July, and I honestly can't believe that this is an election year. You're not seeing, you're not hearing. It's really bizarre to me.
Mark? Does it feel like it's not an election year yet, maybe?
Well, there's only one person campaigning, Joe, and that's Donald J. Trump. I mean, we've seen the rallies, we've seen the appearances. He's campaigning, but Sleepy Joe's, I mean, who knows how many body doubles are out there or whatever is going on. So he's not doing much of anything. No, actually, I take that back. He was in New York, I believe, the other night with Barack Obama. I know we're going to get to him and Jimmy Kimmel and Jack Black. So big rally for President Biden.
Yeah, but it just feels slightly weird. Like I said, it's not just like your normal election year out kissing babies and pressing the flesh, every single day, actually. Granted, one of the candidates couldn't really campaign because of a state indictment where they used a federal statute to go after. Never mind. One was wrapped up with felony court cases and trials, 7 years, 12 years after the fact. The other is completely senile and can't really speak or talk. So that also explains his lack of exposure during this election cycle, I guess. And that brings us to our first topic. Joe Biden is just not fit to be president of the United States. He will not be the nominee this November because he cannot be the nominee this November. Everyone knows he's not the one in control, but every day it's becoming more obvious that he may be long in a nursing home or somewhere. So over the weekend, former President Barack Obama had to help guide a confused Joe Biden off stage as he appeared to freeze at an LA fundraiser. The incident happened at the Peacock Theater in LA, where Biden raised nearly $30 million. And for those that didn't see the video, Barack Obama, like I said, had to hold Joe Biden's hand as they walked off the stage. When Biden turned around, it was revealed that he was actually made of cardboard. I'm joking about that, but I am serious about this one. I'd like to see Barack Obama drink a glass of water while Joe Biden is on stage speaking. I'm serious. I just want to make sure he's not a ventriloquist. Speaking of ventriloquism or whatever it's called, it has to be one of the lowest forms of humor. This is what we're all laughing at. I mean, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is making fun of the old and the disabled, and that's what we're also doing with Joe Biden. Also, it should be noted, the day before the fundraiser, Joe Biden made a declaration on Elder Abuse Day, and Benny Johnson said it was a cry for help. Maybe Benny Johnson's right. So the question I have, did Obama want this nursing home moment or something? What else could explain why he just didn't call out for Joe or try to redirect him? Maybe they are in the process of pushing him out, and that's what you're seeing. But again, Joe Biden still hasn't lost the media that's responsible for reporting on this kind of stuff. I mean, let's just go over some of the headlines and fact checks, as they call it. This is from The Wrap. White House slams New York Post claim that Biden froze up during an LA fundraiser. Newsweek. Video of Joe Biden leaving stage at Hollywood fundraiser sparks criticism. Well, please elaborate more, Newsweek. Yahoo. Joe Biden sparks debate on whether he, quote, froze at a fundraiser where Barack Obama led him off stage in the Daily Beast. No, President Biden didn't freeze at star-studded Hollywood fundraiser. Wow, that's a friendly headline. There's nothing to even fact check here. There's video. There's an actual video. You watch that video and either you think Joe Biden, who is sort of a creepy lingerer to begin with, is just hanging around waving at the audience, or you think that there's something wrong because, again, Obama, who is not president anymore, grabs him by the arm like a small child at a playground. Mark, you saw it, right?
I did. And what's our boy Dan Bongino say, Joe? Sound bites and snapshot. That's what campaigns are all about. This was a bad snapshot for Joe Biden. He did the same thing, Joe, not many days ago at the Juneteenth party with Billy Porter from Pittsburgh, Kamala Harris, and First Man Doug Emhoff. He did the same exact thing. He froze up. What are these, mini strokes? Is he just completely that far shot where he can't move like that? And you want to talk about gaslighting. What is it? The definition of gaslighting is this. The reporter asked Karine Jean-Pierre about the recent videos that have come out about Joe Biden freezing. She called them deep fakes and manipulated videos. This is what you call gaslighting, folks. And this is from Libs of TikTok. This is from George Orwell, a quote. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Joe, this might be the final and most essential command we hear from the regime. But people aren't buying it, Joe. People aren't buying it. They're not being gaslit in this way. Yes, they're being gaslit by the administration, but they're not believing what they're hearing. Why do I say that? As of 4 hours ago, The Economist put out a forecast for the presidential election. Donald J. Trump has a 72% chance of winning. He is projected to receive 306 electoral votes. On top of that, Minnesota, Virginia, and yes, Joe, Hawaii are all in play for Donald J. Trump. Things are happening. We are winning the war. And there's only one thing left that we need to prevent, and we're going to talk about that here in a few moments on this show. But, Joe Biden, I know you don't think he's going to be the nominee. I still do. I just don't know how they're going to go about removing him.
I know how they could real quick. Play the Robert Hur tape. And actually, let's get that. Ryan, when you get a chance. So, okay, let me explain first. So there one audio did come out like an hour ago of Joe Biden talking at the event, and it was so bad. I don't even know what he's trying to say, but it's about 30 seconds long. We're going to be sitting next to Barack Obama, and at the end, Barack Obama just like, ugh. You could tell he just does not want to be there or knows that like whatever Joe said is, again, in any other campaign, any other election year would have been a nail in the coffin. Ryan, play that Joe Biden audio when you get a chance.
And guess what? It's growing. The economy's growing. People feel better. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. We have more people. We've had over 15 million people brand new hired into the workforce. My son says we all have various short-term descriptions for your jobs, for what you accomplished. You should say Joe Jobs.
Joe Jobs. Apparently he has to, unless he's talking to Bo's ghost, which he has a history of doing, he's referring to Hunter Biden. So you heard that correctly. The president is now taking the advice on what names to give himself based on a crack addict that is now offended. Mark, like I said, number one, imagine what the Robert Hur tape sounds like if that's it. And number two, going back to the video of him walking away being escorted by Barack Obama, you watch the whole video. There's a single camera shot, never moving off Biden. And then the Biden team is actually the one with the deep fake because they put out footage that cuts away and you see multiple angles and it's further away and it goes to But it's right before Biden freezes, and then Obama escorts him by the hand, like I said, like a small child. Why do we even need
Right.
fact checkers?
So, Joe, let's think about that. The Juneteenth video I mentioned, and let's not forget about what he did over in Europe when Giorgia Meloni had to herd him back to the G7 crowd as he wandered off to do God knows what. But, Joe, this is breaking from the Daily Mail as of today. Not sure if you saw this or not. The Daily Mail just revealed a secret Democratic plot to replace Joe Biden before the election. Now, we've heard that, why are they having this first debate so early? All right, well, maybe here's why. Bill Clinton, President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer will topple the aging president. The Daily Mail has revealed that if Joe loses in the first debate with Trump, if he loses, he's going to lose, or if his polling numbers keep falling, they're at pretty much the bottom as they, can't go any lower, it'll take a united front of the liberal grandees to make Joe throw in the towel. The only people who could force him out would be Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chucky Schumer, one Democratic strategist told the Mail. It would have to be the four of them collectively. Michelle Obama, who has no close personal feelings for the Bidens, according to one well-connected Democratic source, flat out ignored the invitation. Strategists theorize that Democrats would have to hold a public event to symbolically transfer power from Biden to the new candidate, at which Biden, Obama, Clinton, Schumer, and Pelosi would publicly introduce and endorse the anointed nominee. Oh, there you go.
We've been saying that for over a year, though. That's how. We just thought it would be in May, late April, May, maybe even June. It's going to be after the convention, which makes sense. Or at the convention. I buy in, man. I get it. Replace Joe Biden. Perfect timing. Right before Hunter's trial comes in September. It's good. All right. Anything else about Biden before we move on to amnesty? Another Biden topic, I guess.
No, I think we should find out what the root cause is behind all these freeze-ups.
Like Glitch McConnell. We just don't know what's happening. You just got to blow on him after and put him back in. All right, amnesty. So according to CBS News, because we only got about 3 or 4 minutes for the break here, the Biden administration is making plans to announce one of the largest immigration relief programs in recent history. Biden and his administration, because remember, it's Joe Biden doesn't make any of these calls, they're preparing to offer legal status to undocumented immigrants who have lived in the U.S. for 10 years. Well, my question is, how do we even know who's been here and for how long? But anyway, it's happening, folks. Registration forms are going to be sent to illegal aliens for the 2024 election. They're admitting it now. Whether they vote or not doesn't really matter, does it? They just have to generate the ballots using their physical, proven address, presence, whatever, in a state or county. They'll figure out the rest on election night. By the way, Mark, does it make more sense now why they were flying these illegals into swing states in the heart of the country now? Does it make more sense?
That's a great point, Joe. Can we get Beaver County Director of Elections, Colin Sisk, to call in the show? Because I have a question, Joe. I have a question. If an illegal immigrant comes across the southern border and locates, in Beaver County, has an address in Beaver County, and they register to vote, they're not a citizen. They just came over 3 months ago. Who's determining whether they are a citizen or not, whether their ballot is legal or not? I don't think they're checking to see if they're citizens after they send in a mail-in ballot. Right? Or am I wrong? I don't know.
I might just say, he said he was here for 10 years. What do you want me to do? What do you do? Yeah, I've been here for 10 years illegally. Yeah, sure. They're telling you how you need to lie, what you need to say. This is so stupid.
This is the steal. We talk about stop the steal. We need to stop the steal. We literally need to put our trust in the RNC and all the poll watchers, all the lawyers that they're going to have to prevent something like this from happening. Because when we talk about, this is the one thing that I'm most worried about, is illegals voting in this election. This is the one way they could possibly take the election. It just doesn't feel right that the president can make this determination and just automatically grant amnesty.
Why? He doesn't respect the Supreme Court. Are you kidding me? They don't care about the Supreme Court whenever it's them. Remember when Trump tried to go for DACA and they slapped Trump down? Let's not even get into it. You said the strategy is to replace the voters and have them vote. Also, let's not forget, it's also to kill the people that are here, because that's another story. An alleged El Salvador gang member charged in rape killing of Maryland mom Rachel Marin crossed the border illegally at least 3 times in 2 months. Did you see that story?
I did. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, she got her head bludgeoned in by just like Lake and Riley did.
Sad. No one cares. Doesn't make the news. Doesn't
You
make
hear
the
the thunder
news.
at my house right now? Because it is going to, might get a tornado like you guys did up in Brighton Township.
Well, we're secure here in the Fly Transportation Studio. Walls of brick. Safer than a school bus in here. All right. Hold on. I wanted to make one more point before we move to a break. From Sean Davis on X. This is Axios. Alarmed by repeated warnings from a top FBI military officials, a former acting CIA director and legendary foreign policy thinker wrote bluntly in Foreign Affairs, the United States faces a serious threat of terrorist attack in the months ahead. And Sean Davis said, when I see stuff like this, it makes me think that the FBI and CIA are planning to kill a bunch of people and lie about it so they can steal another election. And remember, folks, when it happens, remember to ask, where is the terrorism really coming from? Mark, anything before we move to a break?
No, you brought up a good point, Joe. I mean, that is one thing that worries me, too, is, I mean, what is going to happen? I mean, we feel like, we've said it before in this show, we feel like something big is going to happen. And, you know, is it going to be a CIA, FBI plant that does this? Or is it going to be an illegal migrant that comes across the border? Or, you know, ISIS-K, which we know is in this country, MS-13? I mean, just pick something, you know, and you have the possibilities are endless that could happen between now and Election Day. So,
all right, we'll have lines. We'll have lines for that maybe by next episode. Get your bets in. Who do you think it'd be? ISIS-K, MS-13? I don't know what the odds be. 2-1 at least, I would say. For MS-13 got to be pretty big odds. They got to be a pretty big dog. I'd say ISIS-K is probably the odds-on favorite. Okay, when we return, though, according to the sources, Trump used to regularly talk about executing people while president. Also, Hillary Clinton is back in the news cycle. Is it because she's thinking of running? Or because the Clinton body count just got a little bit higher? Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 76th season is on Beaver County Radio. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP and 99.3 FM. Pirate baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Town Square Restaurant, and Beaver County Radio.
It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. If there's one thing we love, it's a good dictator. Mark, they all say Trump's going to be a dictator. he's going to be a dictator day one. He'll only be a dictator for one day, he said. He was joking around in the media again, like we always say, started pulling their hair out and eating it. So this came over the wire, I think, over the weekend. Former White House Communications Director Alyssa Griffin said former President Trump talked about executing people multiple times at White House meetings. Again, this could be just like the suckers and losers fake story that no one heard, there's no audio of, or he tried to dive at in the front of the presidential limo and grab the steering wheel story. I can't remember who, Cassidy Hutchinson, I think, or the racial slur that he supposedly said, and it's on video 16 years ago. How it works is now CNN and MSNBC can use Alyssa Griffin to make a headline that says, quote, Trump regularly talked about executing his political enemies while POTUS, according to White House source. Mark, number one, how do we battle back against these third-rate hearsay high school gossip rumors that the fake media runs with? And number two, does a headline like this just make Trump more popular? I mean, what do the polls say?
I love looking at polls, Joe. But, yeah, I mean, what about the headline we saw a couple weeks ago, Joe, about Trump using the N-word while he was on The Apprentice? I mean, that kind of came and went pretty quickly, didn't it, Joe?
No audio, but yeah.
And he's surging in popularity and support among Black Americans. I think he's up over 20% now, support with Black Americans, which is unbelievable. And we're seeing these numbers. Actually correlate that in the polls. This is from Marist, which was one commenter here says not a very a pollster not very friendly to Trump. They have Trump up 2 in Pennsylvania, Joe, out of almost 1,200 respondents from June 3rd to June 6th. Trump is up 2 in Pennsylvania, and that's even with Bobby Kennedy getting 3% of the vote. We've seen polls where he's actually taken the lead in Minnesota. He's up, this is a very small margin, but he's up in Virginia, which hasn't voted Republican since 2004. I just heard today that, like I said in our first segment, Hawaii was actually in play, which it should be. How can Hawaii not be in play when he gave the people of Maui $700, Biden did, and you are literally sending hundreds of billions to Ukraine, letting the people of Maui hang out to dry? Scott Pressler, who's doing incredible work registering voters, does the guy even sleep? I'm not sure, said yesterday, any young person that chooses to vote for Joe Biden this November is voting for himself or herself to be shipped overseas to fight Joe Biden's wars. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for a war. A vote for President Trump is a vote for peace. I mean, how can you argue that? Let's get the debate between you and Mike Romai, Joe. Let's get the debate going. Let's make this happen. Ryan, let's make this happen. But in the last 7 days, my goodness, it is just thunder and lightning here. Wow. In the last 7 days, 1,228 Democrats flipped to Republican in the state of Pennsylvania. That is a large, large number. The numbers are dwindling every single day for the Democrats here in Pennsylvania, Joe. So they got to keep hammering Bucks County, hammering the Philly suburbs, and
in PA
every day we're making ground.
At this state of the game in PA, you don't get anything out of changing your voter registration from Democrat to Republican because next up is the general. You're just going to vote in the general, so you must really have had it with the Democrats if you're going through all that to change the voter registration too. You really must want to rub it in.
That's a good point. But Joe, here's another thing. Let's not forget. Now, the last I saw with this data, do you know Pennsylvania passed this law? I think everyone knows this now. When you renew your driver's license or get a driver's license in Pennsylvania, like so many other states, you are either registered to vote at that point, or you can register to vote, or you can switch your voter registration. The last I saw with this, Joe, is that Republicans were actually, they had the most to gain, with these numbers, right? It wasn't the Democrats that were outweighing the Republicans. It was the other way around. But Joe, if you were an illegal migrant or whatever, you're not a citizen. You can still get a driver's license in Pennsylvania if you're not a citizen, correct?
I don't know about PA. I don't know about PA.
I think you can in PA.
That's scary.
So if you are not a citizen in PA, do you register to vote as long as you have an address? This is what I want to know. We need to look into this because this is kind of scary.
Yeah, automatic. And like I said, they'll just say, hey, yeah, I was here for 10 years. Try proving
I
it.
mean, like Trump says, too big to rig. They are doing this, Joe? We saw it in 49 states. They're handing out voter registration forms to illegals as they come over the border.
It's crazy.
How are they getting voter registration forms as they enter the United States of America? I mean, now we have the SAVE Act, right, in Congress that the Republicans are going to pass in the House, I believe. Now it's going to go to the Senate. If they don't vote for that, Joe, what kind of message does that send to the American people? We want illegal migrants to be able to vote. We want non-citizens to vote in our elections.
It makes no sense.
People are sick of this. People are like done with this stuff, man. I'm telling you.
And they're flying all over the country into the heartland. Like I said, it's the vote. That's a good segue, though, flying to the next all over the country, because that brings us to our next topic. An airport director was killed. And this happened, I think, in March. The executive director of, wait for it, Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport in Arkansas was shot in the head by federal agents after they said he, quote, fired upon them. It happened in March. The ATF said agents were trying to serve a warrant when someone inside the home, later identified as Malinsky, that's the gentleman, fired gunshots at the agents. Well, new info has now come out. Apparently, for one, the ATF agents only waited 28 seconds after knocking on the door at 6 a.m. before they began to ram it. But why the raid? What was he accused of doing? Malinowski, I think, was a gun collector and got raided over reselling some of his guns at gun shows without a dealer's license. Remember, all this man was suspected of, was selling someone a firearm. They could have approached him at work where he wouldn't have been armed. Instead, at 6 a.m., they raid his family home and they kill him, just like they did to a person in Utah about a year ago. Mark, Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport, was it a hit? I mean, Arkansas is where the CIA was flying planes of cocaine into the country in the 80s, I think, or 90s. I'm just saying.
This doesn't smell right, Joe. I mean, this is actually insane what happened. There's a video here from the House Judiciary GOP. Never before seen footage. March 12th. Joe Biden's ATF assembles to raid Brian Malinowski's home. They realize he isn't home and call it off. March 19th. Agents reassemble to raid Malinowski's home, realize he's home, storm the home, and kill Malinowski. Why is everything why is everyone in this Clinton orbit somehow wind up dead? You know, I flew into Little Rock last year for something. And, I told you this. I got off the plane, and there's a picture of Bill and Hillary Clinton, literally, on the walkway, from one of the gates.
Do the eyes move when you walk past? Do the eyes move and follow you like a scary hotel?
I mean, for all intents and purposes, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, this guy doesn't look like he would be up to anything malicious or anything like that. I don't know. I mean,
the fact that you said that they gathered in a parking lot, realized he wasn't home, instead of going to where he was, which I'm sure they would have known, they waited until he was home, and they do it at 6 a.m. They give him 28 seconds, and they burst in. You don't know in this country if it's an illegal bursting into your house, someone there to rob you. I don't know. I don't like these no-knock
while
raids.
He's at work.
Yeah.
Like Ben says here on X. Arkansas airport boss murdered by feds. Wonder what was being trafficked out of the Little Rock airport and what the airport boss knew about it. I'm going to go with Mike Benz on this one.
That's what I'm saying. That's the first thing that pops into my mind. And then the name of the airport. And honestly, that's our next topic. She's back in the news cycle. Hillary Clinton emerged at the Tony Awards to make an election year pitch, receiving applause from the New York elites. Mark, I'm telling you, she's running. She's running.
Can you imagine if she was, if they installed her as the nominee and somehow pulled it off where she became president?
Do you think, guys, that maybe that might breathe some life into the left voters? And
no, who likes her? Everyone hates Hillary now. This is in 2016. Hillary's terrible.
But
she
you think,
sucks.
though, guys, Joe Biden, he's, like a rock, this guy. And if somebody comes along that might, talk to Democrats and get them excited
Hillary Clinton was fake. She was propped up because they had the fact checkers then. Remember the fact checkers in 2016? They had all the stories to prop her up. We could go back from the server. I mean, James Comey, she had her in the bag. She met on the tarmac. She doesn't have that anymore. People have their eyes open. They're paying attention. I hope it's Hillary. God, let it be Hillary.
I think she's more disliked than Biden, honestly.
Because she can speak. Because she can be held accountable because she has a brain and she can speak and talk. She'll have to answer questions. What? I wiped it with a cloth. I wiped my server with a cloth. Remember that one? These people make me sick.
I don't know. I have
However
my
much
doubts
you
about
think
this
you
whole
hate
thing.
them,
We'll talk about
son of
that
a-
at a later date. But yeah, that would be super interesting if they installed her as the nominee.
And that's what it would be, an installation. Because
Yes.
I guess that would be it. Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton. Did I not say from episode 1 it'll be one of those three with probably Gavin Newsom as they'll replace Biden with one of those.
How do you not take Kamala?
Because she has no respect. You said her name wrong. No one even says her name right. It's Kamala, isn't it? Or it is Kamala. Huh? That's my exact point. You just get no respect because no one even knows your name, and you are Montel Williams' side piece. You can't have that. How do you project strength against Russia with Montel's ex-side piece, who no one can get her name right? All right, let's just move on to... Actually, no, this is going to upset me more. Chuck Schumer's barbecue. And then we got to move to a break. So on Father's Day, Chuck Schumer posted a picture of himself grilling with cheese on a raw burger patty. And I know what you're all thinking. I know what you were all thinking if you saw the picture. That better be a freaking electric grill. But seriously, they can't even use a grill. These people that run our country can't even use a grill, but they want us to think that with the banning of stuff like gas grills and giving the government more of your tax dollars, of course, they can save the planet from global warming. Mark, did you see the cheese on the burger? Did you see the cheese on the burger? Just go. Take it from here. I can't.
Oh, yes. This was a classic photo op from your boy Chucky Schumer. How about the one comment, Joe, from down below? Thought we weren't supposed to eat meat and use gas. He put cheese on a raw burger, then he deleted the post. I mean,
he deleted it?
Does it get any better?
Yeah, he did.
Does it get any better?
They try to make it like they're just like us. Yeah, we're just like you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Also,
how about speaking of burgers, Joe? How about, did you see the Impossible Burger? Apparently, it's like causing heart disease and all these other
that's impossible.
Health problems. I mean, who could have predicted that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what? You just couldn't leave it alone. You couldn't leave it alone. You had to do all these things. Yeah, I'm gonna eat an Impossible Burger from. Is it Burger King? Who has the Impossible Burger? Burger King had one, I think.
I think Burger King. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Ryan said Burger King. I never even thought twice about touching that because number one, I do eat fast food. I think fast food's terrible for you, though. Don't get me wrong, but a little bit here and there, can't be that bad. But like, the point is, I'm not going to eat something that might not be good to begin with. It's also not from a good place like Burger King. Double no good. I don't know. We got to take a break though. Flame broiled, yeah. Microwaved, flame broiled. All right, when we come back, we're going to discuss Putin. I guess he's offering peace in Ukraine, but at the same time, he's going to North Korea. And I guess women are going to be fighting in the next war. We'll talk about it when we return. This is Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. Stay tuned. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 76th season is on Beaver County Radio. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP and 99.3 FM. Pirate baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Town Square Restaurant, and Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP, brought to you by Mitchell's Jewelers. Remember, it takes an enormous amount of pressure to make a diamond, so why should you put yourself under any more pressure when buying? Don't. Go to Mitchell's Jewelers, where the choice is as clear as their diamonds. Mitchell's Jewelers, located at 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. That's 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. Mark, apparently Putin offered peace in Ukraine. He's offering a truce if Ukraine exits what I guess they're calling Moscow-occupied areas and drops its NATO bid. But you have to remember, there's no money to be made with peace. Only war. How is this going to play out I think it was already rejected by NATO since we wrote this episode. I think it was rejected by NATO almost immediately. But did Putin kind of put them in a pickle?
Why is it rejected by NATO and Ukraine isn't in NATO?
Good point. Good point. Wow. That totally flew over my head, too.
Just saying.
No, that's the point to hammer home. That is the point. Why is NATO responding for Ukraine when Ukraine isn't in NATO, and Ukraine probably does want a peace agreement? Did Putin put them in the West in a pickle, though? Kind of the West, because, look, they just had to come out and admit they are controlling Ukraine, and Ukraine has no say-so in its own fate.
Can you say that again? I'm getting hit with large bolts of lightning and thunder in my house here.
Oh, my. So did Russia put the West in a pickle with how they treated this Ukraine situation, offering peace, and it kind of exposes that NATO in the West is really in charge of Ukraine and when they can have peace and when they can't have peace. Right.
Do you want to go over clandestine's peace proposal breakdown to give our listeners a little bit of an idea of what, when we say peace, what did Russia offer?
Okay, Ukraine must maintain neutral status. Ukraine must remain nuclear free. Full demilitarization, denazification, which we haven't heard that term in about 80 years. Russian territories acknowledged. Former international agreements and all sanctions against Russia lifted. I could read more. He really puts out a lot more here of information. If you want me to go into it more, I will. But I think that's pretty fair after, it's costing the American taxpayer about, $15 billion a month, it seems?
Sounds like a decent deal. I mean, I don't know, Joe. This is, there's a map here of all the territory that Russia holds right now in Ukraine, and apparently some of the more of the occupied territory that they want to take. These are all, I believe these are all Russian-speaking areas of Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly like the square mileage of Ukraine we're talking about here, but this is a little bit of imperialism on the part of Russia. I mean, let's
absolutely
call it like it is.
Absolutely.
So I don't think how good of a deal is this for Ukraine? New territorial realities acknowledged for Russia. All sanctions against Russia. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ukraine would have to get a little bit more out of this deal than what Putin's offering. I know what Ukraine could get out of the deal, and that's their soldiers are not dying, on the front lines of this war anymore. That would be good, right?
They could go back to the nursing
especially
homes.
considering the average age is like 43 years old for a Ukrainian soldier. So I don't know. This got shot down pretty quickly. I think we all know, Joe, how this comes to an end, and that's if Donald J. Trump gets elected president. If Biden wins again, or whoever the nominee is going to be, it's going to be 4 more years of sending more money to Ukraine. That's what you're voting for. That's another thing on the ballot in November. If you want more tax dollars to go to Ukraine, then vote Democrat in November. But if you want this nonsense to stop, then everyone knows what the answer is. That's how this comes to an end.
You brought up it being imperialistic, and I somewhat agree to a certain extent, but keep in mind, you never hear of any attacks going on in Russian-held territory like it was when Russia was in Afghanistan or when we were in Iraq or Vietnam. It's almost like they want Russia there, which is strange. So again, I'm not going to get involved. I want peace. I want peace, and I want strong leadership in the White House. That's all I want. That's all I can say. But
well, John Kirby here. This is from RNC Research. We just heard that Vladimir Putin's making a visit to North Korea.
yes,
I would love to know what Vladimir Putin thinks of North Korea. That place is something else.
he probably thinks, wow, that could be a proxy for us, like Ukraine was a proxy for the West. 101 right here. That's what I would be thinking.
Right. Top Biden spokesperson John Kirby says the Biden administration is not concerned about Putin's trip to North Korea, but are concerned about the deepening relationship between the two countries. It's the latest instance of Biden's weakness making the world less safe. Joe, when these world leaders see Biden, the way he is and the condition he's in, I mean, do you think that gives them any more incentive to do anything that they normally wouldn't do under a normal, we'll say, American president? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you saw Putin go into Ukraine. You saw us lose Afghanistan. We could spend an entire segment on why yes.
That's a good point.
Why yes. Why absolutely yes, that's correct. He's weak.
Yeah.
He's very weak, and he's weakened our military, and he's done it in so many ways. And honestly, another way right now, the U.S. I'm not against women. There's just some things physically women cannot do. Most women, I would say. And this is breaking from, I think, over the weekend, June 15th. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill that automatically registers men aged 18 to 26 for selective services. The foreigners will be excluded, but I believe women, Mark, are now included in this. Am I wrong?
I don't know if women are included or excluded or not. What this selective service?
Yes,
Act,
yes,
it
is.
Wasn't this already a thing though?
Amends the Military Selective Service Act to require the registration of women for selective service. Includes a number of yeah. I guess it is. So go
I
feminism.
thought when you turned 18, you automatically were entered into the selective service.
Not automatically, no. Now it's automatically. That's the headline. It's now
I remember
automatically.
when we were in high school or whatever, when it was like you turned 18, you had to register to vote.
We were also at war with
you-
Iraq and Afghanistan then, and 9/11 was right after 9/11. It might have changed. We've had peace for 4 years. From 2016 until 2021, we had peace. There was no reason.
Something tells me, Joe, something's going to happen here once we get into the fall, September, October, that they are taking us into World War III, and I feel like they're trying to bait Russia or China into World War III, and I hope they don't take the bait. I mean, that's what it feels like is happening, when you see this stuff.
Well, like I said,
Who's going to go fight for Joe Biden's wars, Joe, in Ukraine or any other part of the world? Who in the right mind is going to do that?
the people that will do that will be defeated so quick, faster than France in World War II. Quick. Boots on the ground doesn't exactly mean what it used to be in 2024, if you know what I mean. All right. You depend on people like us, though. Shows like ours, Human Events, War Room, even, I guess, InfoWars, to get the truth out on the narrative when it comes to stuff like that. And that brings us to our next topic with Alex Jones and InfoWars. I guess they can be forced to liquidate their assets for the Sandy Hook ruling. Anyway, hold on. Someone explain to me why Alex Jones was sued into oblivion for saying Sandy Hook was a hoax just to begin with. Isn't it free speech? I think Alex Jones has the right to question Sandy Hook school shooting. There was a lot of Uvalde-esque issues, but I guess he sued. InfoWars is in trouble of possibly being shut down soon. A judge ruled Friday that conspiracy theorist and supplement hawker Alex Jones can liquidate his assets in order to pay the $1.5 billion with a B he owes the families of the children murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary. He didn't pull the trigger. He just asked questions. Mark, where am I going wrong?
I mean, this settlement was it was like what, Joe, over $1 billion?
1.5 billion.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're allowed to ask questions. I definitely think there were some questions that are allowed to be asked here.
He was so mean when he did it.
I told you I'm reading a book. It's called Chaos. It's about the MK Ultra program back in the 60s, Charles Manson, and what our government does, the CIA, the FBI. I mean, they recruit and cultivate these assets and make them do horrific things. I mean, let's not forget about the Las Vegas shooting, Sandy Hook, Uvalde. I mean, all of these things. I mean, we can. It's okay to sit here and ask questions about what happened. I think Alex Jones may have maybe taken it over the top a little bit, but yeah, I mean, so it looks like InfoWars is going to be done.
Again,
speaking of shootings, Joe, nearly 70 people were shot, 8 fatally, from Friday evening into Monday morning in Chicago. Great Father's Day weekend for the folks in Chirac. Not a peep from the mainstream media, Joe.
On Father's Day weekend too. They're probably thinking, what is that? Yep. Okay. that's just mean. All right. We have one more thing to get to. What was it? Oh, inflation. So this is coming from iHypocrite on X. The biggest indicator of U.S. decline. You could buy 6 Big Macs with 1 hour of minimum wage in 1980, but today you can't even buy one, despite minimum wage more than doubling. A Big Mac was 50 cents in 1980. Wow. Mark, inflation is a tax that no one votes for. Do you see how this is crippling our economy and our wallets and everything else? This is just food. This is just Big Macs.
Some people will sit here and defend inflation and say it's good. It's good for the economy that prices are going up. But again, inflation was 1%, 2% under Trump administration, and even under Obama, it was 3% or less. And now we have rampant government spending that there's no end in sight. I saw something about in Argentina, the inflation rate has come down to like 4%, which, if you know anything about what inflation was like in Argentina over the last couple of years, it was like hyperinflation almost. And I guess the reason apparently is that inflation is come down to more manageable levels is because they slashed government spending. So if you could, slash government spending somehow, I don't know if it'll happen under a Trump administration or not. That would happen again, but it seems like, that's the way to do it, is to stop spending recklessly on, crazy things.
Like Ukraine. All right, after the break, in L.A., U-turns are now homophobic. Happy Pride Month, everyone. That's right. Instead of removing the homeless or the peaceful protesters, they're getting rid of the U-turn signs? But why? We'll discuss the reasons when we come back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Cruising season is here. For some of you, that means shining up the car and heading down the highway. For others, it might mean grabbing the wheel on the other side of your vessel and cruising the local waterways in your boat. Yet there are some of you that cruise season means letting somebody else do the driving while you enjoy all-you-can-eat buffets on a luxury liner at sea. This is Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Well, whatever floats your boat. Freedom United Federal Credit Union can get you cruising sooner than you think with easy term auto, recreational vehicle, and vacation loan programs. Put things on cruise control. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union today and let the fun begin tomorrow. Loans are based on credit approval. Visit freedomunitedfcu.com for rates and details. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be.
Join Beaver County Radio for the live broadcast at the Beaver County Transit Authority in Rochester, Friday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The Beaver County Transit Authority has a new look and new ways to get you where you want to go. Now you can join in the celebration. Bring your friends and family. We'll have prizes to win, including pirate tickets, the Charles Wesley Godwin performance at Stage AE, signed sports memorabilia, Buzzy's Pizza in Rochester, children's games, and lots of fun for everyone. Come out and celebrate the new Beaver County Transit Authority live broadcast 10 a.m. to 12 noon on June 28th in Rochester.
Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Adventure's just a ride away. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Here's a free opinion. U-turns are gay. I don't know how. We're a little bit pressed for time here, so we just got to jump right into this. Apparently, I'm not making this up. U-turns are homophobic. The LA City Council members have removed a no U-turn traffic signs in a gay neighborhood. The signs, I actually had to look into this just to make sure because they're reviewing the U-turn. I thought it was something with like trans people, to be honest with you. U-turn trans, I don't know what I was thinking, but the signs apparently were put up to prevent members of the LGBTQ plus, I don't even know if it was that many letters back then, but regardless, community from cruising in the area in 1997. After neighbors complained about gay men hanging out and looking for dates in certain residential areas close to popular gay bars, the no U-turn signs were put in. So, no, the U-turn sign does not explicitly prevent members of the LGBTQ plus community from making a U-turn. It just makes sure that no one apparently can do a U-turn. So it's not specific to just the LGBTQ plus community. But in my opinion, first of all, I don't like U-turns. I think U-turns are dangerous. Get Grossi and Associates on the line right now and ask them how many collision repairs are due to U-turns. You ever see Fry Transportation bus do a U-turn? I haven't. Mark, U-turns. U-turn. Is this gonna be an election topic in 2024?
I didn't see this one coming at all. I didn't see U-turns being offensive to the LGBTQ2A plus community, but I guess so. I mean, can you imagine living in California, Joe, and having to see this stuff all the time? I mean, it'd have to be exhausting. I mean, what happened to California? Did you see the viral video of Jillian Michaels?
No.
After why she left California?
No.
I'll send it to you. It's worth a watch.
I just can't get the picture out of my mind of them ripping the U-turn signs down like it's the Saddam statue and jeering. They're banning you. Okay.
I saw the video. Yeah, they were thrilled that the U-turns were banned.
And again, I thought it was like for trans stuff. I don't know. I don't know why. All right. It gets.
I love this stuff, by the way.
Oh, do you? Because it gets better. The next topic. The next headline. Exclusive. Biden's Intel community is celebrating Pride Month with free trans flag manicures, Flipinex lectures. Intel agents can get their nails painted and listen to non-binary Flipinex. Is that even a real word? Is that Latinx or is that transgender? Flip. Anyway, Filipino. I don't know. Activists discuss trans rights all during work hours. They're government paid officials. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Did you see do you remember last year, Joe, the Rose Montoya, the trans model? Remember she flashed her breast
at the White House? Yes, at the White House, yeah.
Apparently, saw something on X that he was charged with accused of sexual assault, something like that.
Tranny's gone wild, man.
Yeah, here we go. This is from trans woman from infamous White House photo accused by trans man of sexual assault. Huh. Who knew?
Tranny's gone wild. Freaks at the White House edition.
Get your DVDs, folks.
We actually did a cold open one. I don't even know if we could play that on radio. It was probably about a year ago today. I don't know if we could play that Girls Gone Wild parody on the radio though. All right. Did I want to mention anything else about this? Our top intelligence agencies giving Gay Pride Month manicures. Did I want to mention anything else about that? Ryan, do you have anything to comment on the Gay Pride Month manicures for the FBI and CIA?
No.
Imagine being in like the hearing room where you're can't come to the table and just the guy just going like this with his rainbow colored nails on the table waiting for you to just break. Instead of a coffee, they have a latte questioning you. All right. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left. We got 2 quick headlines we want to cover here. Number 1, Mark, Hunter Biden filed a motion for a new trial in his federal gun case and then mysteriously canceled it seconds later. I'm guessing it wasn't him. It was his lawyer. But that tells you all you need to know, I think, the fact that he canceled it right after.
Amazing.
Are you there, Mark, or have you been struck by lightning?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah, I'm just taking it all in. I mean, Hunter Biden wants a new trial, then canceled it. Yeah.
Keep in mind his hearing is coming, or his what do they call it whenever they find out what his sentencing is coming up in a few weeks here, and he has another trial coming up in September. It's going to be interesting, and that has to do with taxes, and that's a little bit tied to the big guy. But like we said, they picked the 2 cases that had nothing at all really to do with Joe. And then finally, at the press briefing today, John Kirby was asked if there was any updates on Biden's botched 320 pier in Gaza, and Kirby said, bad weather, I guess, was his response. Mark, bad weather, $320 million. The Spanish Armada, I guess, equivalency would have been less than $320 million, and it was destroyed by bad weather. What up here?
$320 million, Joe.
Down the
it's
drain.
Like they didn't even take this into consideration. It was like, rough seas, bad weather, and he's got like a little smirk on his face as he's talking about it.
These people make me sick.
I still think this is this can't be true. Like this period could not have cost that much money.
No, it was laundered away. We all know it. We just don't know where it went because they have they can't keep records that well at the Pentagon. Whenever there's a little discrepancy, 2 planes take 3 buildings down. But we're not going to get into that. Let's just end the episode here. Great episode. We got like 10 days before the next debate, the presidential debate here. He's getting exciting, getting into crunch time here. Ryan?
What's the date on that, guys? What's the
27th?
27th, okay.
It's a Thursday, whatever that Thursday is.
Okay.
Be exciting episode. Pre-game here for it. Mark, anything before we head out?
No, that was a good episode, Joe. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you to all of our sponsors, our listeners. The National Eucharistic Procession was marching through Beaver County today. It began in Midland and worked its way up to, I think, Beaver Falls and New Brighton. So that was awesome to see so many of the faithful walking the streets of Beaver County with the body of Christ.
All right. Thank you guys very much. This has been an awesome episode. We'll be here on Thursday, same time, same place. You've been listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.